I'd like to welcome you all to another Director's Zoom educational session. And we are so very fortunate today to have Peggy Grant with us. All of us, I'm sure, know Peggy in some form or another, but I'd like to read you the bio that I have here, because just to remind you how fortunate we are to have such an amazing person with us today. So Peggy Graham is a second-generation Sweet Adeline and began singing barbershop in Little Rock, Arkansas. At age 15, she officially joined Sweet Adelines and became director of Top of the Rock Chorus by 22 and directed the chorus for 43 years. That's amazing. She served as international president from 2008 to 2010 on the International Board of Directors and as showmanship judge specialist. Peggy's a two-time international quartet champion with Ginger and Jazz and Rumors. She's a master director, a certified judge, recipient of the 2010 President's Lifetime Achievement Award, master faculty member, and a coach. And speaking personally as a bass, she's my idol. Anyhow, Peggy, we're so happy you're here with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I am so very happy to be here with you. First of all, I want to do a little equipment check. Are you hearing me okay? Excellent. Excellent. Okay. I want to get my gallery going here so that I can see you. Oh, that's much better. Cool. All right. Now, I love seeing those faces I know and some that I haven't met yet. So quick little tally. How many of you are frontline directors this morning? Hold up your hand. Fantastic. How many of you are assistant directors? Wonderful. How many of you are on music staffs? Very good. And how maybe some of you are faculty members? Got it. Okay. All right. Good. Well, in this age of COVID, we have found that we are getting creative about doing things. And one of the things that is a part of our regular chapter life is doing PVIs, personal vocal improvement sessions, with our members. And we think, you know, how in the world can we continue that? Because it really is something that can be and should be an ongoing part of the education of our people, especially in a time where we can't get together as a group. We still can do individual work, and our members are so hungry to do something to increase their skills as singers while we have this downtime that we're working on. I don't know how many of you have done coaching work online. Hold up your hand if you have. I see 2. Is that? I saw Paula and Sue. Was there someone else? No. Oh, 3. Barbara. There's Barbara up there. Okay, good. All right. There are some difficulties with it. I have found doing a good bit of it that planning ahead is your best friend if you're going to do it. How many of you have done PVIs with your groups? Okay, not a lot. That's all right. We're going to cover some things in both areas. But this morning, one of the things that I wanted to do was work with you on getting to the basics of what will help you do this online and be happy with it. Okay? The first couple of times that I did online coaching with quartets, I was unhappy with my effectiveness. And I started looking for ways to make it more effective because I was working with quartets that were on the line to be international champions. And I wanted to be much more certain that what I was hearing from them was accurate, and so that I could respond appropriately, so that I was not missing things that I was sure they wanted me to hear and respond to. I wanted to be the best coach as though I were really in the room with them. So I started experimenting with different things. I have some really good speakers, and I hooked my speakers up to my computer, and I thought, well, this is good. But they were really good quartets, and they were distorting the speakers that I had because they were making big overtones. And I'm talking about Class Ring, I'm talking about Frenzy. They make big overtones, and so I thought, well, what am I going to do? And I tried earphones, and earphones did the job. What I found was that earphones allowed me to feel as though I was in the room with the speakers. I could hear the nuances. I could hear everything that was going on, just as though I were in the room with them. The thing that brought it to mind for me to try as a difference was when I was judge specialist for the showmanship category. I would get stacks of score sheets. I don't know if you know what judge specialists do, but we, the people who are judge specialists, go back and get every score sheet that was written in their category. So I got every showmanship score sheet that was written in every competition for each year that I was specialist. Okay? And I got a video of every competition. And I checked. I didn't relive every competition, but if something didn't translate on the score sheet that I was reading, if something was confusing to me reading it on the score sheet, I would go to the video and see what the judge was trying to say, because what she said seemed to conflict with itself. Okay? And I went through this process. So I found that if I used headset, earphones of some kind, I got the best rendition of what was happening on stage. Absolute best rendition. And it's a good thing for you to know as directors when you're listening to your performance of your chorus on stage. Listen to it on earphones. It's a distinctly different version of what your chorus sounded like on stage. Much better than listening in the car, much better than listening on your speakers, even better than listening on your, to me, better than listening on your high dollar speakers. I can plug it into my Bose speakers and it's still not as intimate as earphones. Okay? So let's see. Sue, can you set me up with my split screen?
If you screen share, they should be able to see you and what you're sharing just by default.
Okay.
And those on the call, you can drop or drag the left or the right side. If you want to see her presentation, you drag the bar in the middle to make that bigger. Or if you want to see Peggy bigger, I'm seeing a lot of you nodding like you've done that before. That's a good thing.
Okay, hang on. As usual, I didn't do it like I was supposed to. So I've got to go down here and do this. Okay, now thought I had it right this time. Now, now, and now. Okay. So, can you see it? We're good. All right. Excellent. Okay. So this is what we need. I divided it into what you need to provide and what she needs to do to be ready, okay? You both need a steady internet connection, okay? And that means, do you have a speed finder on your device that checks what your internet speed is? I use something I downloaded for free called Speed Test. Okay? Can you see? Simple, and it says go. And it starts doing that if you've not done that before. And it tells me what my internet speed is. So I'm going to check that before the session. And if something's wrong, I'm going to try to diagnose it before the session starts and check my modem so that I know if there's problem on my end of the line. Okay? And I'll recommend to her that she do the same thing so that we can get the crispest picture and the best sound coming from both of us. Okay? With a quartet, I recommend that they use a mic that is connected to the computer instead of just the internal mic, because it's going to give me better sound than just the mic that is included in their computer. Okay, good quality earphones and microphones. I say good quality, you know, these are good, okay? I have a little pair of Dr. Dre's that fit in my ear. I have a set of iPod earphones. They are very good quality earphones, but they don't fit in my ears very well. So they are not a good choice for me for this. The Dr. Dre's have separate little spongy bits that go in my ear, and I can choose a size that's more comfortable because I have really small ear canals. And so that's a better choice for me because you need them to stay in position in your ear and be comfortable so that you can put them in there and not worry about them, because your focus needs to be on the singer. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. Okay, so be worried. An earphone is going to be better than the speaker, even if it's the airplane set that they hand to you to listen to the movie. Okay, it's still going to be better. So you don't have to spend, $500 for a set of Bose earphones. They don't have to be wireless. They can just plug in and string a cord and do that. Don't worry about about that. Their microphone and the fact that you have earphones is going to be the most important. She needs a good camera and a microphone. She needs a camera so that you can observe her. And she needs a microphone so that you can hear her well. Okay? And then you've already checked the internet connection, but you need a variety of programs in common where you can connect, because some days they aren't going to work as well as they do on other days, and you need the ability to shop around for connections. So both have Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, so that if one is acting up, you can just in a minute switch over to FaceTime, switch over to Skype. Are you with me? So that it doesn't have to kill your whole session because one platform isn't working well that day. And you can just joke about it, you know, the little gremlins are in the air today. Yes, but they're not going to stop us. Okay, here's our information. Here's how we're going to get on FaceTime. Bing, bing. Oh, look, the magic is good. Our vibes are good today. Here we go. And FaceTime. And we're on. All right.
Peggy, there's a question in the chat, if you don't mind, about whether iPhone earbuds are a good quality mic. Are you an iPhone user yourself? Yeah.
I am, and the quality of that mic is okay. It's definitely okay for me as a listener. The quality is, if I've got that on, and my Dr. Drees have a microphone built in them, okay, and that seems to work fine for the student. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, I've never had all four of the students have earbuds on with microphones talking separately. That's a little scary. Don't you know? I don't think I'd like that because their ears would be plugged up. I want them using each other's resonance and the ambiance of the room to sing. So one mic for them is what I would want them to do. Okay? Because they'd be too cued into their own sound, I think. Okay, cool. Now the next thing down is that you need an evaluation document. And one of those is on your handout. That's handout number 1. You need that to easily make notes as you go along, okay? And she needs to be reminded before the session that she should record the session, okay? And if she's using her FaceTime, if the only thing that she has to record on is her iPhone, she can record and still use FaceTime. Okay? So, but having the session recorded to be able to hear, to be the third person listening, as opposed to being the person who's experiencing it. Listening to it later is really enlightening, to be able to hear her voice and then hear what you did in the session and then hear the difference in her voice. So it's very important to experience the session, not only as a participant, but to be able to be the third person in the room and hear the effects of the session. Okay? it's very helpful if she gives you a copy of music that she's working on so that you are able to help her, because you know what happens when you start singing a song, and that is that she forgets her part because nerves take over. And even though she's sung it for 5 years in chorus now, and she's the section leader, the part goes completely out of her head. So if you are able to just sing something to get her started on it, then everything is fine. Okay? So just, if she sends you a page of a part that's bothering her on it, whatever it is that she wants to work, that really helps enable her to do her best job. Okay? At the same time, she needs a quiet environment with a lack of interruption. Now, for some of our folks, that would be nirvana in their lives. So we have to just roll with the punches and go with it, I have done a PVI with someone sitting in a car because that was the only quiet place that she had. She had children and she had a husband watching TV and she had a dog. And so she said, I'm going to my quiet place. And it was in her car. So you work with what you get. Did you have another question, Sue?
One more question, just to clarify, when you were talking about using virtual quartet coaching before, you were referring to a non-COVID type case where they're all four in the same room, correct?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty impossible. I did coach Tenacious after COVID, and what I did was we did 4 PVIs with them, with the other 3 listening in. So that was a way to have them work together and listen and understand what was happening. They could mute their voice and sing with the other voice while it was working, and be aware of the change that I was asking for in that voice. Not our normal way, but again, you get creative. Okay? All right. It's helpful for you to have a pitch pipe, a piano, an instrument to be able to quickly run passages to say, that note is sharped here, and you're not singing that sharped version. Okay, you're singing the natural, and so we've got to fix that. Okay, she needs a positive, open attitude. And it's good to just, when you schedule a session, say, here's what I'm going to provide, and here's what you need to provide. And you may want to add to this. Questions about that? And you can unmute yourself and ask it yourself. Moving on. Okay, now here is the question I ask myself before I start to do anything with people's voices or with people. How would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do? Because that person is kind that person is thinking about the other person in the room, not herself. I don't have anything to prove about what I know. What I need to do is make this person comfortable enough to show me herself, so that together we can find a path for better vocal. Okay? So, again, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do? So, here we go. All right. We always want to be looking for the promise as well as the problem. The promise as well as the problem. When we go into doing PVIs, especially at first, we, like my daddy would say, if the only tool you have is a hammer, all of your problems look like nails, you know? So if you know what you're supposed to do is find things that are wrong and fix them, then you aren't looking for beauty, you're looking for pimples. Okay? What you want to do is to be sure to look for the beauty as well as the things that need to be fixed. So take into account what you have, which is 20 to 30 minutes max. And you want to be sure that you understand that we get better in two ways. We get better by taking the things that we do well and making them better, knowing that which parts of what we're doing are good and capitalizing on the things that are good. So you want to make sure that that person understands what she's doing that's good. Reinforce it with positive comments, okay? Now, in the world of the emergency room, they do triage. That is, they want to find the thing that is most crucial to fix first, the thing that is most life endangering. And that's what we want to do. You know, if the person, what is the thing that if she works on now, that if she concentrates her efforts now, what is the thing that will make the most difference in her voice in the coming weeks? Okay? Within this 20 to 30 minute lesson that you're going to do, you only want to get one or two areas to tell her that she's working to improve. More than that really gets confusing to her. Remember, you've got these areas that you need to shore up as well. So spend more time on two things. And one of them is almost always breath in some fashion. Yes, Pavarotti never got through working on breath control and management and how he spun the breath under the tone to keep it beautiful. So, you know, I figure we should learn from that. Okay? You want to tell her how to approach that improvement. Is it going to be a revision in breath technique? Is it going to be a posture change? Is there a vocal exercise that's going to lead her to a better understanding of that? Okay? Use positive language throughout. Okay? Don't, the word don't do this. Instead, say, we can approach it through this and make that change. Now try, okay? Remember when we, yes? Do you remember how it felt when you, blah? Let's try that again. Yes? Okay, that one wasn't quite as successful as the one before. That one was brilliant. Let's do that one again. Yes, yes, that's it. Okay? You don't have to wait until the end of what she's doing to praise. Yes, okay? If she takes a particularly brilliant breath, stop her and say, yes, that's it. You know? It's like teaching a baby to walk. When they stand up and balance the first time, that's part of walking. And you don't say, no, you didn't do it yet. Do you? And when they take the first step and then fall down, you don't say, no, that's not it. No, you praise as they start to assimilate skill. Yes, 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 that's it. And you do that mid-phrase. Yes, good. Oh, yes, you're spinning the breath. Listen to that. Yes. Everything should feel entirely doable, that she is capable of doing it. Okay? This is the PVI comment sheet that you've got. And you notice that it starts with breath. And I want you to think of yourself as an evaluator here. You can fill out the top part of it before it ever gets started. But if you do breath and you're going to keep, you can do notes on it as you go along. Look that it has posture, it has expanded ribs, it has high sternum, it has abs engaged. Just basics there, okay? One of the things that I've learned in teaching over the years, and I'm going to tilt my camera over here so that you can see me, okay, is that if I'm facing the person, that is somewhat off-putting. She feels as though she's being judged all the time. So I have her stand here as I stand where you're looking at me. All right? So I can see what her posture is. I can see if her jaw is out in front. Okay? I can see tension here. I can see if her sternum is high. I can see if she's going. I can see if she's shoulder breathing. I can see if her arms are going up and down every time as she's breathing. I can see if her ribs stay out or if they're going up and down. Okay? So the placement that you have with her as a singer really has something to do with setting up the singer to be successful. If you aim her toward the far corner of the room, then she has a target that's farther away to send the sound. Okay? Much more like she does in chorus than having you as the target for the sound standing 4 or 5 feet away. And the corner of the room is far less intimidating than you are. Don't you know? Even though you're smiling. Even though you're smiling. And of course, you're modeling what it is that she's supposed to do, because your face is going to be engaged and you're going to have that inside smile going. You're going to be showing her what she should be doing, what she should look like all the time. Yeah? Your posture is going to be good. You're going to be modeling what it is she should be doing, because we teach on a lot of different levels. Okay? Look on down. Your sheet there, you've got in resonance, head flexible. Sometimes your head is, it's like it is on a stick. It's just immovable. And sometimes you'll say, okay, let's play bobblehead. All right, so take your head and do what I'm doing and just play bobblehead. And sometimes they don't know how to do that. So an instruction is to find the crown of your head, okay? And that's where, if you'll watch, that's where these two planes meet, the crown. Can you see? And that's how you would model it for them, where the two planes meet, the crown of your head, okay? Now, would you draw a little circle with your head, with the crown of your head? So, circle. Yeah. No, don't use your finger. Use the crown of your head. There's the crown of your head. Now, just gently move it. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Now move it the other way. Uh-huh. Yeah. See, my chin is staying. Make the circles a little bigger. Go the other way. Yeah. Now, oh, yeah. Relax the head. There you go. All right. Now, you see, you can say, be a bobblehead, and they'll go, it'll be a tick-tock instead of a fluid kind of motion. And if you aren't there, you can't put your hands on them, you know? So you have to come up with ways to explain to them what you want to do. Jaw relaxed. So you take your fingers and put it where your jaw separates. And first of all, just stretch down. Not to pain, just stretch. Ah. 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 Yeah. Ah. Uh-huh. And now, whoa. Losing that little sound makes it feel fun. Whoa. Yeah, because we want the jaw flexible. And then you can do a tick-tock on it. Okay, so watch that. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. And some people who have problems with the jaw, okay, will have a problem doing that. And you'll want to ask them to gently press in there and hold it. If you do it with the knuckle of your index finger and press up into it, yeah, it's a little uncomfortable. Breathe into it, and then when you breathe into it the next time, let it go. And that will relieve some of the tension there. Okay, so jaw relaxed, tongue down. Exercises that you do on va. Say va, 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 va. Yeah, there you go. Va, 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 va. Now, to do that V, I just want you to bring the wet part of your lip up to your top teeth. So, va, 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 va. See, my jaw is relaxed. Nothing's happening with it. The only thing that's moving is my tongue to my teeth. Va, 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 va. I'll get closer. Va, 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 va. Feel it? Where's your tongue? Down and relaxed in the bottom of your mouth. Yeah. And you can go from there with that relaxed tongue, and away it'll go, okay? Palate lifted. If you'll take your hand and put it here by the side of your mouth, okay? And we're going to inhale now. Here we go. And we're going to go. Or you can do my wonderful diving buddy. Take one hand, put it here. Take the other hand, put it here. Okay? And we're going to dive. And our diver makes the perfect dive, no splash. So he goes boom, boom. Ready? And our dive happens right up here at the apex. Watch. Ready? And bounce. There it goes. Feel it? And bounce. And it helps lift your soft palate. Okay? So your perfect dive for a sound would be ah, ah, ah. Okay? Throat open. Bounce on the sound. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, I want you to try that. So stand up. Move myself around here. Stand up, and I want you to sing those 3 notes, or you can choose your own 3 notes, okay? You can choose your own 3 notes, but I want you to take them, and I want you to make the sound stop on your hand 3 times. So we're gonna go ha, 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 ha. Ready? And ha, ha, ha. Got it? One more time. Ha, ha, ha. Okay? Now, instead of doing that, I want you to make the sound travel. I want it to hit 3 points, moving farther away from you. Listen. ho, 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 ho. And you'll notice that your knees unlock when you do it. Ready? And ho, 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 ho. Feel it? Do it again. Ho, 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 ho. All right, now tell me about that. Tell me what you experienced. Unmute yourself.
I definitely experienced the knees unlocking, and I know from coaching with you before that you've stressed how important that is for the whole breathing mechanism, but it's really interesting to see that they just naturally unlock when you're doing that exercise so quick.
Yes.
It needs no thought.
Yes. And you hear the difference in the sound when you're making the sound hit the same place 3 times. Then what was the difference in your sound when you let it go and let it move?
I found I was aiming the sound to the same place the first time and almost limiting and restricting it to make sure it hit the target, whereas the second time it had much more freedom to just go wherever it wanted. And that's singing with my patio door open and the neighbors walking past, so it must have been effective.
I'm sure they enjoyed it.
Oh, I hope they did.
Great. Someone else? Is there anyone who did not feel a difference in the two?
I did find that when I slapped my hand, there was nothing engaged down below at all. And my hand moving forward made the air go, and I didn't have to tell anything to do anything.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So if you're not sensing, you can tell, and you could tell that the air was moving. You could tell that there was spin underneath. There was air moving the sound. Right? That's one of the things that you want to listen for. Is air doing the work, or is she making sound? Yeah. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to move on to here. You're going to model the posture like we talked about. You're going to make notes on the observation sheet and use your notes to determine the most important skills to address. Okay? Kind of like we do as judges. All right. Under breath, is she breathing correctly? Work that first if she's not. Okay? Work that first if she's not. Breath management. You want to maximize her breath for full phrase length and vocal energy, making sure that she's hooking up the breath to producing the sound. And what we just did is one way to do that. Okay? And this is kind of a baby step. So step 1, step 2. Okay. Then make sure that she's singing with enough breath pressure behind the notes. That does fix a lot of fundamental problems. Now, one way that you can do that is by taking that taking the exercise that we just did and singing the notes on a va. Okay? If you did va, 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 va. Are you with me? So just do it. And one of the things that you can do to make sure she's doing it is to have her pull the notes out of her mouth like a magician would with scarves. Ba, ba, excuse me. Ba, 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 ba. And if you want her to have more, to send the sound farther, then take over for her and walk farther away from her, and you pull the scarves. Okay? Do you
Peggy,
understand what I'm saying there?
there's a question in the chat. I think people are finding your examples very, very helpful. The specifics, right? And so there's a question about are there other tools for giving people PVIs, like videos they can watch of somebody giving a PVI and that kind of thing?
Yes, but what you want to do is start building your own skills. Okay? As my daddy would have said, you're not going to learn any younger. Okay? And you're on this you're on this meeting this morning because you are on someone's short list as a musical leader. Right? Now, the things that we're talking about here on breath, you hear them, don't you? Yep, you do. You do. Have I just shown you any technique that you couldn't use? No. No, I have not. Exactly. Exactly. That's the gift I'm giving you this morning. Okay?
And another question in the chat about perhaps demonstrating it incorrectly so that they can identify when the person is not doing it correctly.
Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword. That gets into, it's a temptation. Yes, it is. Kit Buckner was at Top of the Rock once with the Gas House Gang. No, it was the other one. It was the one that won before the Gas House Gang, whatever their name was. At any rate, he was talking about, he had some vocal difficulties, and he said, I felt tonight like some of the times holding those phrases out, I wanted to go, oh, because I just couldn't get it to go. And so, saying something like that with humor is good. Yeah. But I always think to myself, this person is already doing everything she knows how to do. She needs to know how to do it better, okay? And she needs encouragement. And it's okay for her to go, well, that wasn't my best. I can say the one before was better, okay? right? But I try to be totally positive about it. Yeah? Now, if I'm saying what we're going to work on is singing more legato and making it sound like one voice as you go through the passaggio, I can sing her going through the passaggio without people hearing the change, and I can sing her going through the passaggio with a definite change. Okay? But if she's having a problem with it, I don't think it's that it helps her for me to, to say, you did it like this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think it's better to just move on and say, okay, that nasty passaggio, we all have a problem with it. Okay, and here's some exercises that you can do that will help with that. And here's why they help. Okay?
Suzanne, you had a
Yeah, Peggy, that's a question from me. And for clarification, like I've been singing in Sweet Out Lines for a very long time, but I haven't actually done PVIs.
Okay.
I've done a few, but my toolbox is not very full. So I was looking for things that I can learn from how to perfect my skills as someone to give PVIs. For me, I mean, that I'm looking forward to learning. And of course I've been coached a gazillion times, so I know, but I don't know all the exercises or the proper wording to use. So for me as a learner, I was wondering, can you provide any suggestions of things that I could watch as as an educator?
Yes, I absolutely can. Go and log in with your member ID on the Sweet Adelines website and go to the education area. And Betty Clipman and Kim Vaughn both have sessions with singers, and they're very good. You would get a lot out of that.
That's great. Thank you so much.
They're right there on the website. Okay? And I think that I'm hoping that shortly I will get through editing some footage of Dale and Darlene Rogers and me working with some singers that we will have.
Peggy,
Yeah.
Peggy, could I just say that in the few PVIs that I've done, I have the book, the Sing Baby Sing book, and there's
Yes.
a glossary in the back that you can look up certain issues. And so I've kept that with me when I've been doing a PVI. And if I find something that I'm not sure what to do, I go to the glossary and find the exercise and then in the book and use that.
Yes. We when we wrote the book, we did it to be friendly to students, friendly to voice teachers, and friendly to chorus directors, because it handles it all three ways. So if you've got issues with breath, it has exercises for that. And if you're having problems with passaggio, it handles that. If you're having problems with vibrato, it has exercises for that. And then if your chorus is singing behind the beat, it has exercises for that. If your chorus is singing breathy, it has exercises for that, So it approaches it from a lot of different means. Yeah, it's a good resource. If I did help write it, yes. So, yeah, those are all good resources. They are for a fact. Mm-hmm.
So I have found that since COVID, I've only done 3 PVIs with singers, but there are 2 people in my life who wanted to learn how to play guitar. So I did that, and I've done it twice a week for the whole time of COVID. So I've had to develop some communication things that I'm going to use with singers, although I've only done 3 PVIs, that somehow, because it's only a one-way conversation, the differences with the one-way communication is that I had to develop something to stop them to praise them. So I've stuck something up in their screen where they would stop playing the guitar or they would stop singing so that I could say, yeah, you got it. Or just do what you did a minute ago, or something like that, that is different than if you have them in the room where you can just say something as they're singing to reinforce.
Yes, that's a great idea.
But somehow, because they're singing away from you, they don't realize that you want to say something. So somehow, like I didn't want to be negative, but I started with that and I thought, well, this is not nice. But I just wanted them to be quiet for a sec so I could tell them what they just did that maybe they didn't realize.
Yes, I go ahead and talk while they're singing to say, great, yes, good, yeah, good breath underneath the tone. Yes.
So they can hear that? Okay.
Yes, they can.
Because it stops their singing sound?
But they don't hear it stop their singing.
Oh, okay.
You know, it stops on your end, but it doesn't stop. I mean, they keep singing.
Ah. Oh, thank you.
That's okay. That's a great point. Okay? It's exactly right. And it's a wonderful time. You know, teaching theory says you look for the teachable moment, and our most teachable moment is when they're in the middle of it. When it's actually happening, when we can say, yes, that's the feeling that you want right there. Do you hear the overtone that you're making? It's screaming up there. And I hate for them to miss that moment. Yes. Okay. Oh, let me go back. Here we are. Make sure, yeah, she's got breath pressure. Okay. You want to help them complete phrase endings with energy and lift. All right. And sometimes just pulling the scarves will help them do that. Okay. Sometimes taking your hands and just a minute, I have to do this. Taking your hands, let me get away, and doing this at the end of the phrase will do it, because it tells them that they're going to lift out. If you take your hands and pull out at the end of the phrase. Okay? All right. Explaining personal breaths to them, taking personal breaths mid-phrase without tension. And you should listen to them take a personal breath, because it's really an upper level technique. It's really an advanced technique, is what I'm trying to say. To be able to do that, leave out the word and come back in seamlessly. without adding tension to what you're doing. So listen to them doing that. All right. Freedom and resonation. Okay. Tone production. Is it free and appropriately resonated? Is there tension in it? Watch for tongue-jaw tension. We looked at that. That's one of the most common problems. And I find it most common because it's one of the ways that they conserve air. Yeah? Now, if I just tighten my jaw down just a little bit, I can sing much longer. It's not pretty, but I can sing much longer. And when we get to phrase endings, sometimes they've clamped down on the jaw, and it's one of the reasons that our voices tend to splinter away from each other at phrase endings, is because we're doing funky things to get to the end of phrases. Okay? So give a good listen to that. It has a lot to do with your chorus's ability to sing to the ends of phrases in good vocal quality. All right? And then, is she singing with the right head-chest mixture? Is she trying to take chest too high in her register without adding in head resonance? And or conversely, is she taking head too low? And we have a lot of leads that want to just stay in head voice and just take it too low. And it sounds like this down there. Yes, okay? So negotiating the passaggio for both of those. All right? And let's see. Yes, in order to do that, we need to keep the face lifted, tongue forward, breath support consistent, and explain how it changes her sound. Okay? Exercises for the passaggio. One of the best ones is not in the Sing Baby Sing materials. It's in the, I'll think of it in a minute and tell you about it. Or run in and grab it off my bookcase. Doesn't that make you mad? Of all the things I've lost, I miss my memory the most. Okay. But it's the pre and pre, P-R-I-H, P-R-E-H, okay? And they're both short vowel sounds. They have the little scoop above them. And you roll the R just a bit, and it's pre, 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 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay? And think about if you had a raindrop on your thumb and you were going to just flick it off. Just flick it off. And it's just that light staccato feel. Pre, 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 pre. Try it. Ready? And pre, 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 pre. Bum, bum. Pre, 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 pre. Bum, bum. Pre, 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 pre. Bum, bum. Pre, 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 bum, bum. Pre, 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 bum, bum. Pre, 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 bum, bum. Pre, 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 pre. One more. Pre, 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 pre. Okay. Now, what did you feel happen inside when you were doing that exercise?
I felt like my back of my throat was just very relaxed. Like everything was working sort of here to get that out, and everything was just like good to go.
Good to go, yes. You feel the soft palate, and the exercise actually works on the muscles that raise and lower the soft palate, okay? Which is what you need. Here's the deal. We've worked for so long on lifting the soft palate, lift the soft palate, lift the soft palate. What we actually need is palate flexibility. The soft palate doesn't lift and stay in one position. It flexes, okay? If I leave it up, do you hear it? The tone doesn't stay. So we've got leads that are trying to be authoritative with their soft palates doing this. How could you believe me when I said I love you when you know I've been a liar all my life? How could you believe me when I said I love you when you know I've been a liar all my life? How could you believe me when I said I love you when you know I've been... Do you hear the difference? Yeah. So, pre and pre. If the person is having a problem with a register change, and we absolutely must quit calling them register breaks. It's a register change. Nothing's broken.
So Peggy, is the idea you're going in different ranges with those two syllables?
Yeah, you're bridging the gap. See, you just went from chest to head without any noticeable change.
Oh, I think I did my whole thing in head. I didn't know where I was going.
Okay. Pre, 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 pre. We'll do pre. Pre, 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 pre. Ready? Pre, 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 pre. Bum, bum. 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 Easy. Pre, 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 pre. Bum, bum. 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 Pre, 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 pre. I rest my case.
Can I ask a question about for people who have trouble rolling? Because there's a lot of people who, you know, can't roll their, they can't do that. Is there another trick?
You can use a little bit of lip trill instead of tongue trill.
I have a question because when you kept getting higher, it sounded like you were not increasing your volume. So
No,
like a decrease, or you're keeping the volume the same so that
keeping the volume the same. Remember that it is light and staccato. You're flicking that water drop off your finger. Okay? Now, if she were singing, pre, 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 pre. Pre, 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 pre. So if there is a passage that is difficult, not only because of the scale of the intervals, but because it dances over your passaggio, which makes it difficult to tune. Sing it on the syllable pre or pre.
Is there a choice between pre or pre depending on higher or lower, or is it a personal?
It's a personal thing. One or the other will work better for you. Okay? I like it's, to me, it's much better with the R, the pre, because it keeps the tongue forward. And that's part of what you need to do. Okay?
So if it is tongue tension that's preventing the flexibility of a tongue roll, is that worth working on relaxing that so that a rolled R is easier?
Well, the tongue has to be forward. And it's that little burst of air, pre, pre, that keeps the air that the pr does, because you can't roll your R without air. That is part of the secret of it. If air's not moving and you're going over the passaggio, then your chances of negotiating it without a noticeable little yodel are not very good. Okay? Okay, we got to move along here. All right. If pitch is a problem, it's either because of poor tone production, intonation problems, because of inappropriately resonated tone, tension-filled production, or because of poor ear or because of the intervals, okay? You got to figure out which one it is and go from there. And it's really pretty easy because you're going to see the tension. You're going to hear that it's there's tension involved in it, and they haven't added the upper resonation into what they're doing, and that's why it's not the right note. My wild Irish rose. Yeah? Or my wild Irish rose. Okie doke. All right. And now, bottom line, if you don't know the answer, don't make up something. Tell her that you will find the answer and get it back to her. If you can, give the instruction in both right brain and left brain wording. Okay? All right. So you could say, we're going to keep the string of air throughout this passage, okay? So that it sounds as though we have taken all of these notes and words and put them on a string, just like we put pearls on a string. So you're going to think that you're just laying this out as though it's a string of pearls that you're singing to the audience. And guys, it's only the beginning. So, questions?
I think Paula had one from earlier in the day.
Chat? Okay.
I think I just jumped in and was talking about it. It was the communication. So if she can hear me, if she's facing into the corner, that's great.
Yep, she can hear you.
Suzanne?
How do you encourage people that should get a PVI to request a PVI?
I tell you what, make it a part of your plan. Make it a part of your plan, and everybody's doing PVIs. Yeah, it's part of what we're doing. You know, one of the smartest things I ever had. I'm sure you remember Bev Miller, who from the Capital City Course. She was one of our international presidents, and she and her husband had some property in Arkansas where I live, and they came to town, and they happened to be there on a Top of the Rock evening where we were getting ready for regional competition, and they dropped by, and Bev listened to us, and she said, okay, now, individually, what could you do better to get one more point? One more point for the score sheet. Because think what would happen if you individually could get one more point. That would be 54 more points on the score sheet. So what can you do to make your point? And one of the things that we talked about was, you know, if you could get just 1 point better, if you felt that much more secure with what you were doing, if you had something that was bothering you about the music, and you had the chance to get help dealing with that instead of just worrying about the top of page 3 until it was over every time you sang the song. You know, we can, excuse me, I have a repairman coming. Just 1 second.
While she stepped away, if I may, we have a survey about this class that I'm putting a link in the chat. Oops, just sent it to you alone, Suzanne. Let me do that. Okay, here's everyone. So before you go, if you would have a chance to, it's very short, it'll take 5 minutes of your time, we would appreciate it.
And I'll put a plug in for Paula Allen. Nancy Watson's class in September. It's going to be on some of these topics that Peggy's talking about. So some added tips that all your chorus members should participate in.
My dog is very protective. It's okay.
How cute.
This is Jesse James. He and I rescued each other in April. So, so that's one way that you could get things going with PVIs in your chorus. Yeah. And instead of, and everybody, oh, look, another fur baby. Yeah. So that would, no, you're not going to help Buster. No. Luckily, my exterminator is my son-in-law. So.
Somebody said in the chat that if the gal that you're doing a PVI for doesn't know how to get that one more point, if a gal in your chorus doesn't know how to get that one more point, then that's a good reason for a PVI.
It is. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Well, how many of you feel a little bit better about doing a PVI? Good, good. There are things you can do, huh? And the handout that you've got that was from Sandy Marin and Betty Clipman is very good. Go to the international website, look at the examples that are there, okay? And I think you'll find those to be very good. Very good. And, you can make a difference. It does not have to be new, fantastic information to you to be absolutely wonderful and helpful to your members, okay? And the individual attention means so very much to them. And I'll repeat again, especially in this time when so many people are isolated, it makes a huge difference. So it's definitely worth your time to just, hold your nose and dive in, okay?
Can you take a question from Cynthia?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Peggy, I was just wondering, we have like a few choruses, some members who are just joining us who have never sung with us in person. And I'm wondering whether it would be too soon to do some kind of a PVI, or whether it would be a good time to actually start a PVI because they don't really know anything about barbershop. And in that sense, if we spend all our time on posture and breath support, are they going to want to move forward and say, but what about my resonance? But what about this and that?
Do posture and breath support, but do it with have them singing while you're doing it so that when they listen back, they'll be able to hear the difference that posture and breath support made on their sound. Okay?
Yes.
No, Jessie, we're going to stay right here, darling. So that, my family has some farmers in it. And I know that they plant strawberries and they plant pine trees, because they plant hardwoods because they want crops that are immediate. And our folks need things that immediately pay off. And then you plant things that are going to take more time to make a crop, but are still just as valid. And then you want things that are going to mature and mature and mature and mature, you know? Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you think about it like that, there's a lot to share. And, you know, after somebody has a PVI, then you can hardly, they want more. They do. Yes. So that would be my answer, Cynthia.
Thank you, Peggy.
Okay.
Well, unless there are more questions, I would just like to say that now we have the tools to do these from the comfort of our own home and the comfort of their own homes. Maybe we'll find more people willing to give it a try. And thank you for all the tips you've given us, Peggy. I'm sure that we're gonna, yeah, I see all the hearts and the hands coming up. But thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's so nice to see your faces. You know, have 20 of you this morning as guests in my home. I had my Sweet Adeline coffee cup with my morning coffee.
Right.
So it's been a delight to see you, and I wish you only wonderful, healthy things through the rest of this pandemic, and love you all. Give my love to your wonderful choruses, and I know you'll be wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Joan, for offering this for us.